invite our club president, Tumelo, for the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Interim SAA. Good evening, Gaborone Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters, and guests. Tonight, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to our first meeting of the month of August. New month, but same old Gaborone Toastmasters Club with the mantra, we leave no one behind. Tonight, our theme is courage versus fear. And the quote by Mark Twain comes to mind as I speak of this, which reads, "Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, and not the absence of fear." This rings true to the fact that is life, that fear will always exist. And tonight we face it with courage. Like I said last time, in a bid to get our members to know our executive committee better and become more acquainted to them, for the next couple of meetings, our executive committee members will serve as our Toastmasters of the day, being our MC or our Motsamai Tir. Tonight, we have our next executive committee member, which is Leah Musunga. She just served as our interim SAA, but she serves many a role and her bio is very rich. Let me get into it. Leah Musunga is a Toastmaster enthusiast. Previously served as VPPR, that's Vice President Public Relations, Gaborone Toastmasters Club, has been an area director and was Division O director, which is our previous division, which has changed to G, but for the previous year, 2023 to 2024. She has read 70 books in 2024 and served as the editor for the District 74 Achieving Excellence magazine. This is our Toastmaster Southern African magazine, if you're not aware. She is currently serving on the District 74, again our district, cabinet as logistics manager. She is our club's VPE and VPM. She serves as Vice President of Education as well as Vice President of Membership. She's a double-edged sword, if I may say so. She also serves as VPM, again Vice President Membership, in an online club called Leadership Speak based in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Leah Musunga.
Thank you so much for that, Madam President, and welcome everyone to our meeting. As our President said, our first meeting of the month of August. And definitely we have a very packed agenda for you all. And our theme for the meeting, the agenda has been shared in the chat. It says courage versus fear. So courage and fear are often viewed as opposite experiences. However, they're actually intrinsically related. How, you may say? Fear is common and a natural feeling, and courage is derived from being able to overcome those feelings. Courageous people feel fear, but they're able to manage and overcome their fear so that it doesn't stop them from moving through it. Many find that their fear fuels their ambition, but often use it to navigate whatever they are facing and find a way to take the appropriate actions to achieve their goals. And I'm sure you would all agree with me that when we started our Toastmasters journey, we were all scared of taking that first step of presenting our first speech. But despite our fear, we had the courage to come up to the virtual stage or maybe in person if it was for you and start our Toastmasters journey. And as we gather today for this meeting, we actually have 3 people who are starting on their Toastmasters journey. So they have decided to conquer their fear and embrace the courage to start their Toastmasters journey. So I'm really excited about our meeting today. And as it progresses, I hope that you will also be encouraged to embrace courage and don't let fear stop you. So before we get into our program, I'd like to welcome back to the virtual stage our President Tumelo Mapalala to give us the toast of the day. So I'd like to encourage you, if you have a glass of water, juice, tea, get it ready as we do the toast of the day.
Good evening once again. I humbly invite you to join me for the toast of the evening. This is a Toastmasters tradition that I have come to love. August, however you pronounce it, is a very special month for me. It marks the month that I courageously took the step to join Gaborone Toastmasters Club. And I have no complaints whatsoever. One of my favorite authors, being Brene Brown, says that courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. So in August of 2022, I showed up and let myself be seen by joining the Suspicious Club, and I have not looked back ever since. 2 years in, like I said, I have no complaints. Please raise your glass or your cup, like mine, and pay homage to the statement, showing up and letting ourselves be seen. To showing up and letting ourselves be seen. Here, here.
Showing up and letting ourselves be seen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dumelo. Yes, indeed, to showing up and letting ourselves begin. So like I said, before we get into the meeting, I am the Toastmaster of the day guiding this meeting, but I'm not going to be doing it all by myself. I have a couple of people who will be helping me along, and I would like to now just start inviting them to the virtual stage to please tell us about their role and why they decided to undertake this role. So I'd like to invite our timekeeper, Atidiso, to please come to the virtual stage and tell us about her role.
Good evening, Toastmaster of the Day, the members and the guests. My name is Matshidiso Tamaki. I will be the timekeeper for today's meeting to ensure that the meeting runs on time. We have different speakers who will be speaking today. We have the icebreaker speech, which runs from 4 to 6 minutes. We'll be flashing green at 4 minutes, yellow at 5 minutes, and red at 6 minutes. We also have the prepared speeches, which runs from 5 to 7 minutes. I'll be flashing green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, and red at 7 minutes. We also have the individual speech evaluator, and the R counter, which will be timed 2 to 3 minutes. I will be flashing green at 2 minutes, yellow at 2.5, and red at 3 minutes. And lastly, we have the general evaluator, which will be timed 3 to 4 minutes. I will be flashing green at 3 minutes, yellow at 3.5, and red at 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matidiso, for that. And we'll now move on to our next speaker. So just to remind our speakers also, Matidiso's hand will be raised so that her video will be the first one. So just make sure that you note the time as she will be changing it. So I'd like to invite our R counter, Lola, to please come to the virtual stage and tell us about the role.
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. The purpose of my role this evening, the R counter, is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and, you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including and ah. I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I, or this means, this means. And at the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lola, for that. Of course, in Toastmasters, we always try to make sure we don't use filler words. I would now like to invite our grammarian, Ntedzi, to please come and tell us about your role this evening.
Thank you, Leah. Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toasties and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers. Listening carefully to their language usage, I will take note of any misuse of the English language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is extemporaneous. Here it is, which means something that is made up or done without special preparation. Ladies and gentlemen, this word is usually used to describe public speaking. For example, an example of using the word is Seppo made a brilliant extemporaneous reply, and the attack for the moment failed. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give a word of the day report and grammatical usage report when called upon during the meeting. Thank you, and over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
You're muted, Leah.
Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. I guess that still happens. Yes, thank you so much, Ntedzi, for that. The word of the day, extemporaneous. It's a mouthful, but I'm sure it's something we can learn to say as we, in Toastmasters, we come to learn new words. So I'd encourage all the speakers to use the word of the day, extemporaneous. And maybe I'd ask Ntedzi maybe to also share it in the chat, just so that people are able to read it and see how they can use it in their speeches. I'd now like to invite our Hack Master, and that is Utsile, to please come and tell us about the role of Hack Master.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. My role as a Hackmaster is to ensure that there's effective listening and during the meeting, and I'm going to compile a list of questions that I'm going to ask just to ensure that everyone was listening attentively. Thank you. Okay, I'm on video. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Utsile, for that. As a reminder, we should be listening well because, like she said, she is going to ask us to see how well we were actually paying attention. So those are the people who will be helping me along in our meeting today. So our meeting, as per the agenda, it is going to be divided into two segments. We're going to have the better speaking segment. So this is where people have spent time preparing their speeches. It can range from 2 weeks to a week, and they'll present their speeches. And then we're going to go into the better listening segment. So this is where we receive the feedback for the speeches. And that's the beauty about Toastmasters, is that you get feedback on your speech that you present. So we'll then get right into our first part, so which is the better speaking segment. And we have our first speaker, Benjamin, who will be presenting an icebreaker speech. But before Benjamin comes to present, I would like to invite his evaluator, Ritabile, to please come to the virtual stage and tell us about the speech objective of Benjamin's speech.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I hope I'm audible. The purpose of the speech as the icebreaker, this is the first speech that will be delivered today. And it's the first one on each project. So very, very important for Mr. Benjamin Mahodielo. So this is basically just an introduction to the club, an introduction to us so that we would know who is Benjamin, what Benjamin likes. And in the process, it helps to learn the basic structures of the speech, which is the introduction in the body and the conclusion. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much for that. So Benjamin's speech title is Toastmasters, Seeking Clarity in My Public Speaking. Seeking clarity in my public speaking, and the speech is 4 to 6 minutes. Benjamin, I'd like to invite you to the virtual stage.
Toastmaster, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, good evening. Before I start speaking, I would like to acknowledge the speeches by other Toastmasters who were speaking last week. They were speaking about their inability to speak publicly, their shyness, and one remembers there's a speech, Timelo Mapalala, and former President Clemens Mbeu. But before I speak, let me introduce myself. I'm Benjamin Mahodielo. I was born in Mulepule, 50 kilometers west of Gaborone. I started one in Mulepulule in a primary school called Chile Primary School, where in the days when we used to collect cans for primary schools, the schools made money through collector can campaigns. I then moved to Mogoditan, where I've lived since. I moved to a primary school called Solomon Duhuzo Primary School. I remember one day we were chased by a pack of dogs while collecting boxes for making firewood. And luckily for us, a gentleman came and kicked the dogs while they ran away. I did my Form 1 to Form 3 still in Mogoditan in a secondary school called the Dumarimani Junior Secondary School. I remember when we went for regional competitions, I was moved from the third speaker to a sub because of my poor public speaking skills. And therefore, I've embarked on this to try and improve that. I then moved to Naledi Senior Secondary School. In university, we did a project for alumni in a Facebook-like app, which allowed the alumni to connect after finishing university so that they can stay in touch with each other. The app I was the developer for the app and programmer. It was called programmer nowadays, but now it's called developer. I was very good into developing, but I couldn't present well. So my classmates helped to present the project that we did, even though I was a good developer. And then I'm currently working as a project manager, senior solutions architect, and project manager. Let me take you through the projects I've done. One of the projects is Universal Access and Service Fund, which seeks to promote communication services in undeveloped areas, underdeveloped or less developed areas. The fund has decided to buy laptops for junior secondary schools, for senior secondary schools. I was the project manager. I remember when they came for a site visit, my boss did the presentation. I didn't do it, even though I was the project manager. That's how bad my public speaking is, and I'm seeking help here in Toastmasters. The other project that we did was the project for the migration of servers from the old servers. The old servers were no longer unsupported by IBM, so we have to move it. And therefore, I was also the project manager. I remember one time the lead project manager said, I don't need consultants. That's how bad it was. And then the last project that I would like to tell you about, that which I was involved in, was the one for moving the Oracle, for improving the software, that is the Oracle. As you know, when the hardware was done, the software was left behind. And then before we did that project as well, I was sometimes like for speaking too fast or not being audible in the project. Therefore, I'd like to say the reason why I came to Toastmasters is to seek help and to try and improve my communication skills so that I can be good in my projects. Thank you.
And normally once someone presents their first speech, we normally give them a huge celebration. So I'd like to say, let's all give our first speaker, Benjamin, a big woo. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Welcome, Benjamin.
Yip, 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 yip.
Welcome, Benjamin.
Yo.
Yes. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for that. I'll now like to move on to our next speaker. But before I call our speaker to the virtual stage, I would like to invite the evaluator helper to please come and tell us the speech objectives.
Good
Helper.
evening, Madam Toastmaster, and its Can you hear me?
Hi, helper. It seems like your connection is really bad and it's very static.
Can you hear me, or am I audible?
We can hear like the end of your sentence. Oh, and we can hear the end of your sentence. You're muted now.
Am I? Okay. How is it
Oh.
now?
Yeah, much better. I don't know what happened.
I had to swap around different Wi-Fi providers. My fiber is down, so it's messing up things. Okay, good evening, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, especially Theo. The purpose of this particular speech is quite straightforward, just like the previous speaker, is for the member, in this particular case Theo, to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. So essentially, you are having your welcome to Toastmasters by presenting this amazing project, the Icebreaker. I'm really looking forward to it, Theo. Over to you.
Thank you so much for that. And I will just share my slides so we can all appreciate his speech title. So with the speech title, Silencing my inner fears, another icebreaker speech instead, 4 to 6 minutes. Silencing my inner fears. Theo, you may take the virtual stage.
Greetings to all fellow Toastmasters and guests. Uh, have you ever had voices of doubt whispering in your ear? Have you ever had a shadow that was looming over your potential? Have you ever experienced moments where you ask yourself, am I really suitable for this position? To me, I have experienced all of these that I've just mentioned. I am a civil engineer working in a mining company, and on daily basis, I work with different personalities, different people of different levels or hierarchies. And sometimes I find it hard to deal with the different personalities, especially that I am new in this environment. This will lead me to shying away from decision making and being engaged and playing my part as a team member. Fear to me has manifested as doubt, self doubt. It has manifested as cautious wisdom, and also it has manifested as procrastination. Somehow I believe that it has also manifested in my life as a imposter syndrome. So Theo as a young boy grew up in Janin. I grew up in Janin as a young boy, and I enjoyed playing football and driving around with the cars. With the wire cars. During the early years, in the early years, I enjoyed those. I was an inquisitive, loud, and energetic young boy who sometimes would find myself interjecting in people's conversations. So there was this other time that I eavesdropped on my mother and my neighbor's conversation, and during that time, I somehow was sent to the tech shop to buy bread. On my return, forgetting that I was eavesdropping, I then asked my mother what happened after that, which I believe that in our Setswana culture, it's not normal for a child to ask those questions, especially if it's the adult conversation. So my mom would say to me, Theo, o bala bala ha ngwana ha se bohlale." In English, it translates to being talkative as a young child. It doesn't reflect the level of intelligence. So those words to me, they really had an impact on me to make me more preserved, less expressive, and more of an introvert. So today I have taken a step forward to conquer my inner fears. I am inviting you to join me on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. I would like to encourage all of us to silence our inner fears together and let us create lives we truly deserve. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Theo, for that. Let's give him a big round of applause for presenting his first speech. Woo, woo.
Yeah,
Well done,
yeah.
Theo.
Welcome, welcome.
All right. We're going to move on to our third speaker, and I'd like to invite our third speaker's evaluator, Buipilo, to please come to the virtual stage and give us the speech objectives.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the evening. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I have the pleasure of evaluating Elijah Sivako, who, like the previous speakers, will be giving his icebreaker speech. Elijah's speech is titled, "To Live is to Speak." And the speech objectives are for us to get to understand who Elijah is. And it's going to help Elijah learn how to structure his speech and inform us who he is. Elijah, best wishes on your speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Buipilo, for that. And just in case we missed that, Elijah's speech is "To live is to speak." Another icebreaker speech, 4 to 6 minutes. To live is to speak. Elijah, you may take the virtual stage.
One of my professors in medical school gave us a very instructive piece of advice that has always stayed with me. She said, as I quote, "With all your medical knowledge, you will still not be able to cure all diseases. You will not be able to treat every person until they are alive." But, she continued, "You can always comfort and you can always give hope." End of quote. And that statement actually puzzled me. And here is why. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, Madam Chair, good evening. Today, I would like to share with you this very simple truth through my speech entitled "To Speak is to Live." This phrase actually resonates quite deeply with me because it encapsulates my belief that communication is the lifeblood of human connections and personal growth. Our ability to communicate defines our existence, sharpens our relationships. And here is my personal story that is going to illustrate that. Growing up in Mau, I was a curious child, eager to explore my environment and also to connect with everyone who was around me. However, like most children, I would say, I was very hesitant to express myself. Whether it was fear of judgment or it's just that I wasn't able to articulate my thoughts, I just found myself keeping silent. And that just went on until I got to high school in Hansi Senior Secondary School, that I really discovered the power of speech. I discovered that through my twin brother, who actually joined the debating club. I suddenly discovered that he was able to articulate himself. He was able to look at different viewpoints. He was quite very good and very, very persuasive. But I still thought that wasn't for me. Fast forward to today, as you may have noticed in my introduction, I graduated as a medical doctor. And in my profession, I found myself that you really have to communicate. The technical skills and the knowledge is not enough. You have to communicate to people's minds, not only their minds, you have to talk to their hearts, not just their hearts, but actually the fears and vulnerabilities buried deep, deep down in their hearts. And good communication is what will get you there, at least according to my experience so far. Because in medical school, we really don't take any classes in formal communication, I suddenly found myself that I really needed to develop very good communication. We don't learn public speaking in medical school, but yet we have to communicate to people in their most vulnerable condition and situations. That being the case, that really gave me the deep conviction that communication, therefore, builds strong bonds between myself, which most of the time I'm a stranger to my patients, but I have to be able to communicate to them in a way that will build trust. Therefore, joining Toastmasters is my next step in this journey. I believe that through this community, I can build speaking skills, share my experience as I'm doing today, and learn from all of you. Because to speak indeed, to me, it embraces every opportunity to connect, to grow, and also to do things that have got impact. Words can be like medicine, and they can also be like a sharp knife in a surgeon's hand, which can leave an ugly scar behind. Finally, I'm quite very thrilled. Now I found the missing puzzle in my professor's statement about the power of words, that you can comfort, you can even heal, and you can definitely give hope just through good communication. And that's what I want to develop now by joining Toastmasters. Thank you very much.
Let's all give Elijah a big hand.
Well done.
Well done, well done, well done. All right. We'll then move on to our next speaker, and that will be myself. It seems like a trend. 1 year Toastmaster, you also present a speech. I would like to then invite the evaluator for Leah Musunga, Tato Kumani, to please share the speech objectives.
All right, thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Good evening to you, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I have the pleasure of evaluating Madam Toastmaster of the day herself, Leah Musunga. Leah, she's doing persuasive influence pathway. The purpose of the project is to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. The goal is to meet the express purpose statement with a well-executed speech. Her speech title is White Flag. Leah, White Flag.
when you are faced with challenges in your life, how quick are you to raise your white flag of surrender? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I grew up in a family of 5 children, and my parents always stressed the importance of education. They knew this would be the key for our future success. So we always made sure that we studied and did well in school. After high school, I went to the University of Botswana, where I studied the degree in accounting. I knew that if I wanted to be more marketable after my degree, I would need to do a professional qualification. And I decided to undertake ACCA. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, you must understand that from primary school, I used to get straight A's. Went to high school, I had a B or there, but I was in the top 10% of the students. Varsity, it wasn't so hard, it was okay. But under doing a professional qualification, who here can testify how difficult those exams can be? For the first time, I was failing. To finish my qualification, it would require me to do several exams, which would take about 2 years. But because I had failed 1 or 2, I decided to set a goal of 3 years. After year number 3, I still hadn't completed my exams. Year number 5, I was left with 1 paper, auditing. I hated that exam. By that time, I had already failed it 4 times. And I was thinking, I must be dumb. How can I not pass this exam? Then one of my friends came and said, Leah, just keep pushing. Eventually, you will succeed. I was energized by the words my friend said, and I went to write the paper for the 5th time. And when the results came, I had failed. I was ready at that point to raise my white flag. I wanted to surrender. Then I recalled the words of my parents saying, education would be the key for my future success. And I knew that I shouldn't give up the fight. I should continue fighting. And fighting, I continued. I went and wrote the paper for the 6th time. And what do you think happened? I failed yet again. I was so discouraged, but I knew I couldn't stop the fight. I had to keep on pushing. They say number 7 is lucky, and that's exactly what happened with me. On my 7th try, I finally conquered this paper, and I was able to pass it. I was filled with so much joy when I opened up my email that indicated that I had finally passed. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, when you're faced with challenges and you're faced with difficulties, how quick are you to raise your white flag of surrender? Do you want to immediately give up? I'd like to encourage you, no matter how tough the situation, no matter how it looks like it might not end and you might not achieve that goal, don't be quick to raise your Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Yip, yip, yip.
All right, I'm back to my hat of Toastmaster of the day. I would then like to invite our evaluator for our final speaker, Maria. So I'd like to invite the evaluator, Julie, to please tell us the speech objectives of Maria's speech.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters in Botswana, Gaborone. It is my absolute thrill this evening to be the evaluator of Maria. I must apologize, Maria, I don't know how to pronounce your surname. Forgive me. Maria is doing the pathway or the path of leadership development. It is a level 3 task. The time allocated is 5 to 7 minutes. This is not, hold on a minute, extemporaneous speech. It is a prepared speech. And the purpose of the speech is to emphasize language usage. And this language usage should increase the interest of the audience and the impact on the audience. And in this way, the literary words and the language should increase the interest of the audience. The title of this speech is My Solo Adventures, the Cruise Ship. So My Solo Adventures, the Cruise Ship, well, I'm sure thinking about the theme of the evening does include some fear, lots of courage, but so much fun. Maria, best of luck with your speech tonight. It's going to be great. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
I think you have introduced her very well. Maria, you may take the virtual stage.
How many of us can travel to a different country all by ourselves? How many of us are willing to gallivant to our dream destination or to take that dream trip all by ourselves? Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I am that lone wolf. Good evening. In March, I embarked in a life-changing experience. I decided to do something out of the extraordinary. I decided to do something unusual, risky, courageous, adventurous, completely out of my comfort zone. I packed my bags, dusted off my shoes, and hit the road. And my first travel destination was a cruise ship. I boarded a 5-day cruise ship traveling from Durban to Mozambique all on my own. And oh, what a fantastic, eye-opening experience I had. You see, a cruise ship has about 4,000 passengers. And these 4,000 passengers is the combination of friends, family members, newly married, partners, lovers, all traveling together to create, to build, and to share memories. But I decided to do that all on my own. So you can imagine, on that day, I raised a few eyebrows. while everyone was gathering, calling on each other, waiting in the queue, since I was all by myself, I jostled past all of them. And within 30 minutes, I was inside the cruise ship. You see, when you travel on your own, you can move as quickly as a lightning, and you get to experience the best things before crowds starts to gather. As soon as I got into the ship, I went to the best spots and took the most eye-catching photos without any distractions or any disturbances. And this was a daily ritual that I did while I was on the ship. And yes, I took all the photos, all the videos, all the 300,000 photos by myself. Trust me, you will never know what you're capable of until you are in a situation where everything depends on you or where you have to do everything by yourself. A cruise ship is like one huge hotel that has all these interesting things, that has all these interesting places. But the most incredible part of the cruise ship is what they call the VIP section. This is where you find the best entertainment places. It's where you find the top-notch restaurants, where they serve the best food, where they serve the best wine. And as you can imagine, it costs an arm and a leg, unless, of course, you're traveling solo. When you travel by yourself, generally, you can get an easy pass from people or the crew members in the ship. You can navigate your way around situations. You can negotiate yourself into and out of a situation. And that's exactly what I did. So every single day, I somehow ended up in the VIP section of the ship. And I got to experience the most jaw-dropping sunsets, the most jaw-dropping sunrises, and I got to taste the most incredible exotic food at absolutely no extra cost, simply because I was on my own and I was able to navigate the situation. Traveling on your own, it seems lonely, but it's quite empowering. You become extremely decisive. In a cruise ship, every day offers you an opportunity for something new. So they will give you a daily schedule of the things that are going to happen. So you will find that the schedule has different theater shows, dance classes, yoga lessons, games, live music, you name it. If you are in a group, I'm telling you, you are going to miss out on things and you are going to struggle to decide what you can do. But when you travel solo, you can experience everything. I went to all the live shows. I went to all the live music and I took those salsa lessons and I went on those competitions. I had absolutely no fear. And because I was doing it on my own, I was very decisive and got to experience the cruise ship, one of my dream destinations. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, you need to learn to push yourself beyond boundaries. Self-travel might be something that you're not thinking about or something that you're scared about. But let me tell you, it's quite empowering. If you truly want to know yourself, if you truly want to know the person that you are, take that trip to Zanzibar, take that trip to Maldives, take that trip to any place that you want on your own. Toastmaster of the day, back to you.
Let's give Maria a big hand. Ooh, inspiring us to take cruise ship. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for that. Yes. Hopefully we'll also take cruise ships. So thank you very much. That was our final speaker. And I think Toastmasters and guests, you would all agree with me that none of the speeches were extraordinarious speeches, as they were all well prepared. I would now like to move on to the next part. So according to the agenda, we are to vote for the best speaker. So I will just share the poll. So you can just vote. They always say your vote counts. So the vote will be up for just for about 60 seconds. So please vote. It should be up on your screen. And while we are doing that, I would like to invite our next person on our agenda, and that would be our Hack Master, Utsile. If you could please come to the virtual stage and see whether we were listening to the speeches. Test us.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. My role today is to check whether you are listening. And I have a few questions for all of you. And my first question will be, who failed auditing exam 6 times?
Leah.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Thank you.
Leah.
That was an easy one. Thank you so much. And my next question will be, who was involved in developing or improving, rather, who was involved in improving the Oracle software?
Benjamin.
That's correct. Thank you. And then my next question will be, who described themselves as a lone wolf?
Maria.
Maria.
That's correct. That's Maria. Okay, I'm looking for a difficult question now. Okay. Who said fear to him has manifested as procrastination?
Theo Malijwe.
Yeah.
That's Theo. Okay. Okay, and then I have a few more questions. Okay, who grew up in Maun?
Elijah.
Okay, that's correct. Okay, and my next question is, who encouraged all of us to silence our inner fears? Who encouraged all of us to silence our inner fears? Okay, that's Theo, that's correct. That's impressive. That's very impressive. And who was born in Mulepolole? Who was born in Mulepolole? That's correct. My very last question. What is the title of Elijah's speech?
To live is to speak.
To live is to speak.
Okay. Thank you so much, fellow Toastmasters. You did very well. It shows that you were listening attentively. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Utsile, for that and for the questions. Definitely, it's always good to find out whether people were actually paying attention. So we'll then move on to get the timing report for our speakers, and I would also just share something in our chat. So if you are a visitor or a guest, we have a guest book that we would like to request for you to complete, just for us to know who you are. You can give us feedback. And we also have a WhatsApp group for all our guests. If you want to join to find out more about what we're doing, or if you want to join, you can click to join that. So I'd like to invite our timer, Matidiso, to please give us the timing report for our speakers.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Our first speeches, which were the icebreakers, timed 4 to 6 minutes. Our speaker number 1, Benjamin, spoke for 5 minutes, 30 seconds, which is well within time. Our speaker number 2, which is Theo, he spoke for 5 minutes, 10 seconds, which is also within time. And speaker number 3, Elijah, spoke for 5 minutes, 45 seconds. On the other prepared speeches, which are timed 5 to 7 minutes, speaker number 4, Ms. Leah Musunga, spoke for 5 minutes, 30 seconds, and speaker number 5, Maria, spoke for 7 minutes, 5 seconds. She went over the prescribed time for 5 seconds. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day. You are muted.
I just realized that when I was speaking, like, oh no, I'm muted. Oh goodness. Thank you so much, Matidiso, for those timing. And yes, 5 to 7 minutes. You are given 30 seconds allowance to wrap up your speech. So a person can speak 30 seconds, an additional 30 seconds, just to ensure that they wrap up their speech. But thank you so much, Matidiso, for being the timer and for giving us that report. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, we have now reached the part where we go into our feedback session. And I would like to invite our general evaluator, Simiso. I think he should be on the call. To please, to please chair our general evaluation session.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the evening. You'll excuse me, I can't turn on my video, but hopefully that's not bad. We can be able to work with this. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we get to this part where we get feedback for all we have done. This is feedback on what we've done very well and areas of improvement, because you see, in Toastmasters, we all say breakfast is indeed the feedback is the breakfast of champions. Anyways, we will just get straight into it and get our first evaluation. Our speaker 1 was Toastmaster Benjamin, and I would like to invite his evaluator to give his feedback.
Good evening again, once again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Let me quickly give Benjamin's evaluation. Mr. Benjamin, congratulations for taking up that decision to join us here on Toastmasters, or to take that decision to say, I want to improve on my public speaking. I want to improve on this journey of me being a project manager. I want to do better, and you are in the right place where you are safe to complete your projects and learn. Good things that I've noted on your speech. You shared a personal stories. I remember when I was a kid going to primary school, collecting cans, collecting firewood, and I believe most of us were able to connect with that story. We know who is Benjamin. Benjamin from Lepulole. You went to primary school in Lepulole, went to Gaborone, and went to Dumadumani. We know what you are into communication, and I believe if there's anyone who likes communication, now you have found a connection or a networking partner there who is Benjamin. Anyone who is into project management or who has learned something about project management, Benjamin is there to give you tips. And thank you for giving us that speech and introducing yourselves to us. Things that you can improve on. Since we are online most of the time, technology is not usually on our side. I've realized that it was not a very, what is the right word? It was a bit dark where you were delivering your speech from. So I would say next time and your next speech, let's try to prepare well on time because sometimes you don't anticipate to have lights go off or electricity go off. So let's try to prepare well on time on that. And I believe that was the setback because now you had to use your other phone so that at least you deliver your speech to us. And also big ups to that because against all odds, you were able to deliver that speech. So let's try next time for us to prepare well on that. And just another thing that you can challenge yourself on since it's your first time, your next speech, usually here in Toastmasters, because on our evaluations, we evaluate you as Benjamin and we evaluate your gestures, how you use your hands, we evaluate your body language. Are you telling us a story using your body? So in your next speeches, just challenge yourself to stand up in front of us and deliver that speech. All in all, it was a great speech. We know who is Benjamin and we can't wait for your next speech. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much for that feedback that Benjamin has received. And Benjamin, as a first-time speaker who broke the ice today, we do believe that that evaluation will take your next speech to a greater improved level. Thank you for that. We move on to our next evaluator. That would be Helper, who was evaluating our second speaker, Theo. Helper, please come to the virtual podium.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters, and yet again, most special to Theo, or Theo, so in South Africa, we say Theo, so I'm trying to learn, it's Theo. But nonetheless, well done on your wonderful, wonderful speech and for coming out and, as you rightly said, silencing your fears. You really took us for a treat. My word, that was a well done first time speech. What I love the most about your speech was the ability to use questions to get us to think about what you wanted to indulge us on utilizing your speech. That was well done. So keep it up. And what you then did was to take us through this path of who you are as a person, a mind engineer, working with different personalities. But what I loved quite a lot as well was your ability then to bring it back to the social aspect, talking about your mom, asking her unpopular and peradventure extemporaneous questions that she almost had no answers for. And she started chiding you, unfortunately, partly killing something that you heard, the ability to stand up and ask. But still, nonetheless, you use that as a lesson that we have as Toastmasters, how we can ask. And even at times, if we're given some sort of advice, we should not just take it on face value because it can take away something that we potentially have. So well done on that. You spoke about where you grew up and what you enjoyed in your early years, which is enthusiasm, that inquisitive mind, which many people argue belongs to the world of scientists. So you started behaving like a scientist from a young age on. And you spoke about how you moved from being somebody who would ask these unpopular questions to being an introvert, and how Toastmasters has become a platform for you to conquer what was killed in you. What a great example and a challenge to many other people here to be Toastmasters so that they can conquer their fears. What do you need maybe to just look at for the next speech, Theo, is give us a bit of time to ponder on your question. You asked us some very good questions. Give us 3 seconds, 4 seconds, so that we can chew those particular questions. Otherwise, it was becoming like an overload, a question, a question, a question, then we didn't have time to process. The next thing that you want to look at, I think the previous evaluators already alluded to it. Challenge yourself to stand up. This is Toastmasters. We want to see the whole of you. Use your gestures. Also utilize vocal variety. Like when you were talking to your mom, try to mimic her voice. Take those pauses. Indulge us. Take us to that world of you talking to your mom. That can enhance your speech even far much more better. So I'm looking forward to your next speech, Theo, as you utilize all these recommendations, which I think, looking at what you did, are way possible and within reach for a person like you. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Helper, for that very helpful feedback indeed. And you know what I really like is that every time the evaluators are sharing with us where we did very well and where we can improve. So at the
Toastmasters
end of
Tuniso.
our third
I think maybe she was suggesting we move on to the next evaluator.
Sorry, I
Boipelo.
think I must have lost connectivity.
Yes.
Toastmaster Boipelo, please come through for Toastmaster Elijah's speech. Sorry about that.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Congratulations, Elijah, for giving that first wonderful, wonderful icebreaker speech. You delivered your speech very well, Elijah. Your speech was well structured. I think that is the first thing that I really enjoyed. So you really excelled with coming up with a properly structured speech. You had an introduction where you introduced us to the topic by first providing us with a quote that you got from your colleague that said that with all your medical knowledge, you will not be able to cure all diseases. And we also got to learn that it is out of that speech that you got to realize that being a medical doctor extends further than just curing people. You need to learn public speaking. So well done. That introduction was a powerful one. You further moved on to the body of your speech, where you explained the importance of being able to communicate effectively. Again, emphasizing the importance of building on communication skills. You explained to us, I got to understand that you are a medical doctor. Your conclusion was also very powerful. You were able to wrap up all the concepts that you introduced in the introduction, as well as now move on to engage us well. We are able to really follow your speech. What you need to improve on, Elijah, I noticed that you are not able to face the camera. So you kept looking sideways, upwards, and blinking. So we are not able to really fully connect with you as you are delivering your speech. So maybe in the next time you may want to improve on that. You also need to improve on your movements. You were stationed in one place. Moving a bit helps us, it helps you command the space and get the listener's interest. So I'd like to challenge you to use your gestures, to move a bit as you deliver your speech. But other than that, well done. Your speech was awesome. We really enjoyed it and got to understand it was well structured. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Boipelo, for that feedback for Toastmaster Elijah. I think we really have good evaluators in this meeting, because it really shows that they do evaluate the speech and not necessarily the speaker. Well done for that. We move on now to our fourth evaluator, to our fourth speaker's evaluator. I might have missed the name. May the Toastmaster for the evaluator for Toastmaster Leah come through to the virtual podium.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. I was privileged to be evaluating Leah. When you are faced with challenges in your life, how quick are you to raise your white flag of surrender? That was a perfect way to start a persuasive speech or speech with a purpose. What you did here, Leah, you created an information gap for us, the audience, to want to hear more. What's really challenge here that you want to face? The main gist of your speech was to share with us or influence not to give up quickly on whatever you want to pursue. Let me start with what you did great here, Leah. It was very important to back your purpose with arguments. You took us through your parents, the way your parents raised you. And that was one of the compelling arguments, because clearly that built credibility by sharing that background. You were clearly a bright student. You passed on your 7th time, and that was one way to convince us, even to what's relevant to us, to never give up. I also like the way you use the use of the illustration, the flag that you are referring to, you hold that white flag. Also, what I liked, you applied what we call an emotional hook. Leah, I was emotional with your story, telling us failing for the 5th time, I was already feeling for you. But the 7th time, it was kind of even hard to take. Leah, you are an experienced speaker. I like the way you use your voice projections, the use of our hands, they were coordinated. And also, I like that great anticipation you did while we were continuing to fail. For the 6th time, guess what happened? So I really like that anticipation. I was there and say, all right, she's getting one on this one. But in Toastmasters, there's always be learning points where you can improve. I would like to I would have liked it if you would have given it more authority by maybe reinforcing on why we shouldn't give up easily. You should have probably maybe used some global research so that you can just reinforce that. So next time in your example, maybe to buttress your arguments, you could have included maybe the national or global pass rate. And those statistics, when you share with us, when you want to convince us not to give up, especially relevant to you, it will help us to relate more into with your example or into your speech with purpose. But in overall, I like your speech, and wow, I like your closing. We left that with call for action, which is very, very important in this kind of speech. No matter how hard, don't be too quick to quit. I like everything, so I'll be looking forward to your next speech. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator Tato, for that very, very informative and useful feedback for Toastmaster layer. Even advanced speakers in Toastmasters do need feedback for their excellent, excellent deliveries. Thank you for that. We move on now to our last evaluator, and that is Toastmaster Julie, who was evaluating Toastmaster Maria. Toastmaster Julie, over to you.
Thank you so much, Maria, for inspiring everybody this evening, as well as myself. Your speech was a success because it reached our souls and gave us ambitions. It also fulfilled the Toastmasters' goal, which was to use language and expression to make the speech more impactful. And this was successfully done. I'm going to give my evaluation in 3 parts. Something that was done well, some things that could be improved upon, some aspects which were exemplary. These points I'm going to share not just to the speaker herself, but to everybody who's in the group so that we can learn. Firstly, outstanding vocabulary was used. A dream destination, raised eyebrows, an arm and a leg, an eye-opener. Something else was eye-catching, beautiful expressions. So a change of pace was used. Pauses were effective. She didn't say, I am a lone wolf. She said, I was a lone wolf. Just a plain sentence, but by stretching it out, it had more emphasis. She did something all by myself. And the slowness gave it strength and impact. A couple of points that we all need to bear in mind is not to look at those notes too often, like I am at the moment. So I was really glad when she started to use her hands to express what she was feeling. And this we can do even better if we stand up. I can't because I have a gammy leg, but it's really good to stand up and present, and then you use your hands, your arms, and your whole body to give impact to your speech. To conclude, I'd like to mention the things that were absolutely excellent and outstanding. Listen carefully, fellow Toastmasters. Our colleague here used the skill of a group of 3. She said to create, to build, and to share. 3 things. All of this, all of that, and all of something else. 3 things. The most, and the most. 3 things, 3 mosts. I went here, I went there, I went there. 3 things. I take this, I take that, and I take something else. 3. very effective way of pushing your idea forward. Just to conclude, sometimes if we're trying to emphasize something, we don't have to use a fancy word. Maria was brilliant. She took some quite ordinary words. She said I decided. Decided is not a fancy word, but I decided was good. And she did something, not just quickly, she did it quickly. And I tell you what, this was the best thing that she did. She used that, the best. And I thought that was a wonderful, inspirational speech that we can all learn from. Cute. Maria, what a lovely speech. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going on a cruise next. Back to you, Madam Evaluator.
Oh, wow. Julie, thank you so much for that evaluation. I must say, I will be inviting you to our club as well so that my fellow members can also learn this type of evaluation from you. It was such an honor to hear those pointers, and I'm sure everybody else learned one or two things from your evaluation. Thank you to all our evaluators for this evening. The sandwich approach always works. Share what you loved, share what can be improved, and what they did well. Thank you so much to all our evaluators. We will quickly move on now to our other role players who were assisting in the evaluation this evening. We'll call upon the timer to give us the evaluators' time regimes. Over to you, our timer.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. General Evaluator Chair. For the evaluator speeches, they were timed 2 to 3 minutes. All the speakers were within time. They spoke for 3 minutes. For evaluator number 1 up to 4, Tabile, Helper, Buipilo, and Tato, and the last evaluator, Julie Davis, spoke for 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Timer, for that. And we will move on now to our R-counter. Do we have an R-counter in the room, Madam Leah?
Yes, we do. And I'll also launch the poll for the best evaluator while the accountant delivers the report.
Okay, thank you.
Lola? Lola, I'm not too sure if you're speaking.
Okay, perhaps whilst Lola is still trying to get connected, our grammarian can come through for their report.
Sorry about that. I was having connection issues. Is it all right now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Just to repeat, the purpose of my role tonight was to take note of the use of filler words such as and etc. My report looks like this. I recorded 1 and 4 as from Leah, 6 4 as from Utsile, 1 from Simiso, 3 6 as from Matsidiso, 2 6 as and the repetition of the word the from Benjamin, 7 as from Carol, 2 as from Elijah, 9 and 1 from Ratabile, 2 ams and 3 as from Bipelo, 3 as from Tato, and a special mention to Ndizi, Dumelo, Maria, Helper, and Julie, who used no filler words tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lelo, for that report. And there I go again. I put in that gap filler. Well done to everybody else, because we've been working so hard to ensure that when we speak, we avoid the unnecessary gap fillers. Kudos to you all. We move on now to our grammarian's report. I'll call upon our grammarian to come and tell us how we fared on this beautiful language. Toastmaster Ntedzi, over to you.
Thank you, Simiso. As grammarian, my responsibility was to pay close attention to the language use of all speakers, and I'll be giving an extemporaneous reports on the word of the day, as well as the grammatical use. For the first quotes that I heard, we had Benjamin say the difference between the programmer and the developer, which is a word that I like. A developer being a IT professional using programming language to create softwares. From Theo, he used a quote that I like: fear manifested in my life, manifested being to show a feeling, which in his case, fear, by one's action. We had Elijah as well using a good word such as encapsulation, encapsulating his belief, meaning that it influenced or embodied his belief. Leah used the white flag of surrender. One can ask why the white flag, but it's a good figure of speech which has been internationally recognized as a symbol to ceasefire or to surrender. We also had Maria using words such as to gallivant to describe his lone wolf character, which means to travel or to roam or for pleasure. And he used some keywords, she used some keywords there such as eye-catching and some words such as to cost a leg and an arm and a leg, which means something is very expensive. For another keyword that I liked was to not take something at face value, which was used by helper, which means that it is not, it's something that is the apparent worth of something. I didn't notice any improper usage of the words, so big up to all of us for using the Queen's language in the greatest way. And for the word of the day, I only realized only 3 people use the word of the day. That's Julie, Leah, and Helper. So let's give a shout out to them. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ntedzi, for that very, very succinct report. You were able to give us all the highs and lows of the meeting and how we used the English language today. It is very proper that in our speech and in our meetings, we try very hard to ensure that we use the correct language. And the word of the day, if we can also try to infuse it in our talk and in our language during the week, that will be the cherry on top. Thank you very much for that. I think that would be all the role players for this evening giving us feedback, and I will be able to give my general evaluators report at this time. Correct, Madam Toastmaster of the Day?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, I will kick off from where I started off. Where I live, traffic is a nightmare, so I was not able to make it in time for the meeting, but I was just in time for the first speaker. I must commend the organization of this meeting from the VPE, who did all the groundwork and ensured that all roles were filled in, completed, and the group was Sorry, I think I was muted. I will
Apologies.
continue. All right,
Yes, please
thank you.
continue.
All right, thank you. So congratulations to the team that was working behind the scenes to put the meeting together. It means invitations went out on time, and we had at some point recorded 43 members in the room. I'll commend the speakers for preparing their speeches very well, because it's always important. It's one thing just to deliver a speech, but to deliver a speech with the right purpose, right information is one thing that this club did very well in today. Congratulations as well to the evaluators. You know, when you present a speech, you want recommendations, you want acknowledgements, you want to know how you did well. The evaluators did very well. I also like the idea that in your club, I must commend you guys, you have a hack master, which is a nice twist to the meeting, because some meetings will have the usual table topics and other things, but the hack master one, I loved it, because it really shows that people were listening. We test people's skills, whether they were listening or not. So I loved that about your club. I also need to commend you guys on the backgrounds. I loved it. You branded your meeting very well. The club branded backgrounds were shared earlier on in the meeting, and everybody who spoke or had a chance to use it, used it, which looked very, very well. I think we are on time, which means everything went well. I'm not too sure what time we're supposed to finish, but well done and congratulations for doing that. So to take your meetings to the next level, I would just like to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing, invite more people to come, convert any people. And the fact that you have 6 speakers, it means you're chasing your DCP goals. Well done to you guys for that. Congratulations once again, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator, and thank you so much for those notes. I will definitely take them on as a club to help us to improve and become better. And at this point, I will then share the results from our voting. So that was the vote for the best speaker, best evaluator, and let me just do that. So, right, there we go. So drum roll. Da, 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 da. So in terms of, I'll start with best evaluator. Our guest evaluator, Julie. Well done. Woo, woo, woo. Well done, Julie. And, and then our best speaker of the night is Maria. Well done, Maria. Woo woo. Well done, Maria. Well done. And then we'll just like to now just recognize some of our members who have completed their levels. I think they're not in the meeting, but this is just a way to help us all to also push to ensure we complete our levels. So we have level 1 completion by Badiri. So well done, Badiri, completing level 1. And we also have Palisa, who completed her level 2. So obviously, back again as a reminder for speakers, please make sure we approve our speeches on Basecamp so that the level of completion can also be done. And at this point, as wearing my VPE hat, I would like to just thank the following Toastmasters who came to help us make our meeting a success. So we have Helper who was taking on the role. So this is a certificate of appreciation. Thank you so much for coming and taking up a role as evaluator in our meeting. We also have Julie Davis, who took up a role of evaluator, and of course, Simiso Sibanda, who took up the role of general evaluator. Thank you so much for coming to assist us today. And at this point, putting on my Toastmasters of the Day hat, I want to say thank you so much to all the people who came and joined us. Indeed, courage or fear, which one will you choose? And I hope today we have just gained a little bit to say we will choose courage so that we can be able to achieve our goals. I'll then hand over to our club president, who will just have some guests, talk to our guests just to find out how the meeting was. Demela?
Thank you, Leah, for that. I think tonight we can't say our meeting was extemporaneous, what a word, because it was indeed well packed, well planned for. We had 3 icebreakers, which I'd just like to take a moment to say, well done, Benjamin, well done, Theo, well done, Elijah, for taking up this courage in this moment, joining the club. Welcome once again, but we would love to keep you and have you throughout this journey of personal development. We are so proud of you. We also heard from some of our seasoned speakers, from our Toastmaster of the Day, Leah, who wore multiple hats throughout the night, as well as our old and goldie, former president of the club. I know you didn't know that. Maria Khaena Mong, we love having her back. We saw that with Toastmasters, there's a variety of levels and projects to learn from. And like I said, we look forward to seeing our icebreakers continue on this journey. I'd also like to take a moment to just say thank you to everyone who played a role tonight. And a special mention goes to Ndezi, who was grammarian for the very first time, as well as some of the other supporting roles by Matidiso, Lola, Utile. We all appreciate you. With that said, we've come to the end of our meeting. It was a pleasure to have you, but I'd like to take a moment to talk to our guests. I'm a bit biased, but I'd like to talk to a 3rd or if not 4th time guest. Her name is Bonolo Kwapa. I'd like for her to unmute and tell everyone in attendance tonight why she keeps on coming back, because I think there's something for us there. Bonolo, are you available to comment tonight? I know you're still on the call. Hi, Bonolo.
You took me by surprise there, but I will definitely give it a shot. I keep on coming back, and I did promise that I am joining. I'm still on that promise. I'm still on that promise that I'm going to join, because every time I join in, I just learn something new about myself, about public speaking, about speaking in general. So I definitely believe this is where I am supposed to be, as I promised that I'm about to join this journey.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Bonolo. Just know you are always welcome at Gaborone Toastmasters Club. Is there another guest who'd like to add anything concerning our meeting? How did you find it? Will you be coming back? What is the general view? Candy Ntebele, hi, are you a guest? Hi, Candy.
I'm a guest. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How did you find our meeting tonight?
Your meeting was amazing and I learned a lot. I think it's my 2nd meeting, if not 3rd, and I'm definitely joining.
Yes, please. We love the recurring visitors. As you can see, we keep note of them. But with that said,
yes,
I'd also like to take, yes, thank you, Candy. I also like to take a moment to just shout out our visiting Toastmasters who never find it inappropriate to come to our meetings. I'd just like to say, I see you, Yari, I see you, Nonofo, Julie, Mpo, Helper, and Bami Simi. So we appreciate you all so much. And please do share your own meeting details and we will be sure to join your meeting. Can we please, I humbly request that we take a group photo. If you are comfortable, please switch on your camera. This is the last. After this, I'll be giving a few announcements, but please switch on your camera so we take a group photo. Are we ready? I see some people have switched on their cameras. Yes. Leah, are you ready to take the print screen? You're muted.
Cameras are still off.
Okay,
Okay, I can see some
a few
cameras are
moments.
back on.
Hi.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part.
We always say, if there's no picture, then it didn't happen. Okay,
Yes,
I can see some pictures. All right.
Yes, thank you so much. That brings us to the end of our meeting. I have two announcements to make. One very exciting announcement is that next week, Tuesday, we are having a physical meeting. So Tuesday, the 13th of August, we're having a physical meeting here in Gaborone at Liduma Dumane. Our family at Lifeline Medical Center will be hosting us, and we will share the details on our WhatsApp group. I saw Leah shared a guest WhatsApp group. I hope to see that you have joined, as well as a guest book, which will allow for us to keep record of the guests that visit our club. So I encourage you to fill that out, join the WhatsApp group. You will find all details there. So we will send, but Tuesday, the 13th of August, it's a date, a physical meeting. I know a lot of us are skeptical about joining, saying that we're just virtual. So come to the physical meeting so we know you are serious. With that, also, I'd like to remind our members, renewals are open for our next season, our next cycle, being October to March. So we have 2 terms within the Toastmasters year, and one of them is coming up or coming to an end and another starting. Therefore, we need to renew our membership dues. Why renew your dues, you might ask? Well, renewing your dues allows you to continue on this journey of personal development. It also allows you access to our educational program. That's our Pathways on Basecamp, right? It also allows you to participate fully in club meetings. So Bonolo, once you become a member, you will be participating as timer, as all of these roles and not just table topics. It also allows you to compete in speech contests. That's another fun thing we do here at Toastmasters, and allows for us as a club, Gaborone Toastmasters Club, to remain in good standing. That just speaks to our members, our number of members, that is, and us maintaining the minimum required membership. So with that said, our club is what is known as self-pay enabled. What is self-pay enabled? That means once you're in, once you've registered through Leah, gone through everything, you are able to pay for yourself. We've switched on the mode for the club to say that you can do so at your own convenience, pay for yourself. You would not need the help of a treasurer or again to ask, you just go on the website, which is where all our Toastmasters equipment or material is located, and you're able to do so yourself. So we need to have paid by end of September because the term is October to March. So from now on, it's open. You are free to pay for yourself. Thank you so much. But that brings me to the end. Leah, do you have any extra nuggets you'd like to add? But as far as I'm concerned, I've closed off the meeting. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think you have said it all. And at this point, I'll even stop the recording.
Yeah.